Gretchen Lovewell. This is my office, one of the coolest places in Mote. Welcome. So, my office is also the Ruth DeLynn Cetacean Osteological Collection. It was this collection started over 30 years ago by an amazing woman named Ruth DeLynn, who originally started her career at the Natural History Museum in New York. She came here, she started this collection. Much of it was through her own love and philanthropy, so it's an amazing collection. And first thing people always see when they come in is sort of the elephant in the room, our juvenile, this is just a kid, humpback whale skull. This guy stranded on the East Coast. Our partners at FWC had it for quite some time. We're ready to get rid of it, so we were happy to take it because it's a pretty cool, impressive piece, and it is our only baleen whale. Well, I take that back. I do have one in the jar too. This is actually a fetal humpback. Pretty amazing and remarkable. The other weird things you'll see in the corner are actually these long-handled knives. So we use these when we have to go out and rescue marine mammals and sea turtles that might be entangled in gear. So sometimes we'll try to do remote disentanglement. So we've got these big, crazy long knives. So I have knives and skeletons in my closet. Let's see, the next thing you can see, we actually have a skeleton that we're working on right now. This is a dolphin that was known to us through our partnership with the Chicago Zoological Society's Sarasota Dolphin Research Program. That partnership makes this collection even more valuable. They have studied our local dolphins for 50 years this year, it's their anniversary. So we know all about these animals before I ever see them across my table. That allows us to do a lot of really cool things and ask neat questions of these animals that we can't do anywhere else in the world. This is an animal that was known to them since 1988. It was an adult male. I'm in the process of laying it out and trying to figure some things out, but you can see this is its sternum. It was broken pretty severely, so I will be following up with our partners at SDRP to see if they ever noticed anything funky going on there. We know he was an adult, he was older, so we have some arthritis happening and all kinds of interesting things. So we've got some bony overgrowth here. Some of his processes on the top of his vertebrae are kind of bent. I don't know what would have caused that, but so, you know, it's really this awesome puzzle. We have to, unfortunately, sometimes do the sad things of going and dealing with dead animals, but then we bring them back and we learn so much from them so that we can use what we learn to help the ones that are still out there. You can see I had a couple broken ribs here, so it's always amazing to see what these animals have dealt with throughout their life by the time we get them on our table. Unlike any place else in the world, our dolphins kind of come with a black box because of our partnership with the Sarasota Dolphin Research Program. So I can ask them, you know, where did this animal hang out? Who did it hang out with? You know, when was the last time we did health assessments on it? So it's really a cool, interesting way to look at these animals that no place else can. We also do a ton of work with sea turtles, actually more work with sea turtles. I mean, still working on her skeleton. Labs in action. So here we have a kind of a collection of our more common animals that we see. This first one right off the bat is an adult green sea turtle. We don't see many adult sizes through our stranding network. We know they're here, they nest here, but for some reason they don't strand very often. Unfortunately, this one stranded because of a boat strike. The prop came through here and cut right through his spine. And in my 11 years, this is the first adult male green I've ever recovered. So we decided it was an important one to keep and tell the story. As you continue down, these are greens as well. We're actually in the process right now of working on a paper about this kyphosis. It's a bend in the shell. They shouldn't be like this. We're finding that a lot of these animals have this due to prior injury. We flip it over. Sea turtles' shells are actually made out of their ribs. This is their vertebrae, this is the rib. So much like us, their ribs protect their lungs. Their lungs sit right here. So that causes a lot of issues when they get hit by boats. Their kidneys are here, also can create some issues. What we're finding with this kyphotic shape is that if it is due to an injury and not just a natural spinal deformity, it can tend to lead to megacolon. So we're investigating that and working with some partners at University of Florida to tease that out a bit more. These are our Kemp's Ridleys. These are the most endangered sea turtles. We have them here in various age groups. So this is a juvenile. We see these guys fairly regularly. They're kind of stinkers. They go after hooks and bait often. We often get these guys hooked. This is more of a juvie subadult, and this is an adult size. So they're the most endangered, and they're the smallest ones that we see. Then we get to our loggerheads. These are our most common. This shell is actually a test shell. This was a adult that came in. We did the necropsy, we cleaned the shell, and then we used it to test out different tagging techniques. So we were getting one of our biologists trained to do tagging. She had to go around and work with other researchers. These are just blocks of wood, they're not tags, but we just to practice putting it on there, we actually use heat or thermometers to make sure that this epoxy and the paint doesn't get too hot for the turtle. So people often wonder why I have stuff glued to a shell, but that's it. As you look around, we have all these boxes. Each one of these boxes represents an individual dolphin. All of the red dots are animals that we knew through our partnership with the Sarasota Dolphin Research Program. So these are some of our most valuable ones. The yellow dots are offshore small dolphins, like spotted dolphins, spinner dolphins, that type of thing. So animals we don't generally see very close to shore. And then the bigger boxes with the green dots, those are all offshore toothed whales. So a couple of the things we found with some of the animals we've looked at, we've been able to document congenital scoliosis. We also sometimes have animals that we don't know why they have scoliosis, like Rip Torn. He was an animal that a lot of people used to see. He was actually originally identified due to his scoliosis. In 1980 and 1984, he suffered a boat strike. So he had a very bent over fin, plus that scoliosis. Dolphins can kind of be big, mean jerks. So while they are amazing and cool and beautiful, you should never trust something that smiles all the time. This is a good example. This animal actually died due to a traumatic injury. And if you look at that injury, it is about the exact same size as a dolphin rostrum. So when they recovered this animal, they realized that it had been beat up by other dolphins. You know, we talked a little bit about Miss Ruth. She was an amazing, remarkable woman. She also had a very cool artistic side to herself. And you always love it when, you know, creatives and scientists meet. And so when she designed this room, she also was very clever and used some of these vertebrae as our drawer and door handles. They are still cataloged. We can still use them if we need to. She didn't do anything to harm them, and even the one that's over on my office, you can still see the way it was glued. You can still see the field number, which is kind of cool. This is Ruth and Dr. Wells, who's the director of the Sarasota Dolphin Research Program. This is where I do all the work. I've got, obviously my family takes a big prominence on my desk. My daughter, my husband, my mom, my parents. When you do the type of work we do, sometimes you need an outlet. One of mine is sports, very clearly. I'm a big Michigan State Red Wings fan. I grew up in a small town in rural Michigan, so my ties run deep to Michigan. I very much feel like I stand on the shoulder of giants, not only with the opportunity to get to work with Dr. Randy Wells, who's studied this local population for 50 years, but Dr. John Reynolds, who hired me, was just a giant in the field and one of the most, not only giants in the field, but just one of the best human beings you'd ever get to know. And then I have Dr. Nellie Barros, who predated me, was a dear friend, and was the program manager here before I was, as well as Ruth, who started the collection. So I always try to keep these guys that helped me get my start and brought me to Mote and supported me so much when I got here, kind of close to keep an eye on me and always be over my shoulder. And so here it is, what's in the top drawer. Ta-da! So I have all kinds of things in my top drawer. I have, again, more photos. I have cards from, this is one of my interns that was an RU student, did research projects, now in PhD school. I keep all the notes and trinkets for my interns because I really do feel like we're a family. I keep deodorant because when you deal with dead animals, you can get a little stinky at times. Gotta have the reef safe sunscreen because skin protection is very important. Sometimes it's dark. I've got this, this knife is actually my boat knife, my field knife. I've had it for 18 years. It was given to me when I completed a large whale disentanglement apprenticeship with the Provincetown Center for Coastal Studies. That's one of my big accomplishments, and the fact that I have this knife and I can't replace it. This knife is like, everybody knows, don't touch my knife. Scrappy. So we have a place where we keep a lot of our stuff, but this one is just one I like to pull out. It has Nelio's beautiful handwriting, so I get to keep him near and dear. But it's also just a funny story. Again, when we deal with some pretty heavy, hard things, we see animals get killed by people, we see animals die for red tide, so occasionally we have to find the humor in that. Well, Scrappy had a much happier ending than all of the animals that are in my office. Scrappy was a rescue. And what Scrappy was rescued from was really bad clothing choices. Let's see if I can actually get, so this is a Speedo.
Oh my.
Scrappy's Speedo. Scrappy swam into the Speedo, and it was actually embedding and cutting into the front of his flippers. So it was going to be eventually a mortal entanglement if we didn't intervene. So they were able to get Scrappy free of his Speedo and his bad clothing choices, and he's still sitting out there today by our partners with Sarasota Dolphin Research Project. So this is always a good one. I like to remind people that, you know, take care of their trash, stow before you go, reel in your lines if you see dolphins, you know, wear glasses so you can watch for animals, and please do the appropriate thing with your Speedo. Don't let it end up in the water and around our dolphins. And that's what's in my top drawer, and that's my pager, so I guess it's time for me to go to work. Thank you guys so much.